Welcome to Level Check Roblox. This is your in-game parent review for Azure Forsaken. And this review has one purpose, and that is to answer the question, is this game suitable for your child? Remember, nobody knows your child better than you do, so it's my job here at Level Check to play these games so that you don't have to give you the facts so you can decide if a game is appropriate or not. Timestamps are in the description just as usual, and if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button to help other parents find this kind of content, then that would massively help me out. So let's get straight into the game then. Starting off with the Roblox homepage, I notice Azure Forsaken bumping up the top trending spaces with a whopping 145,000 active players, but actually just an 84% like rate. So let's dive into this and see what it's about. Firstly, it has got a maturity mild label for fear, occasional and mild, and violence repeated and mild, but this means that it will push to every account for anybody that has a Roblox account, so from the age of 5 all the way through to 17 essentially. So this immediately doesn't look like it should be on the home screens of 5-year-olds, and I couldn't see anything saying that there was a recommended level on there. It says here that it contains flashing lights, so at least they've got something on there as a health warning for anyone who's epileptic. But what I didn't like here was that it says the survivors, you got to protect your teammates, and killers, kill them all. That doesn't sound very family friendly for a game that could be played by 5-year-olds. But you know, we'll dive into it as we always do, and we'll run it through the risk review. So let's see what else it says here. So these are obviously relating to the most recent update. It was created on, let's see, the 28th of July 2024. So it's been around a while. 19th of July 2026. That's the most recent update. That's the one that we're going to play test today. So without further ado, let's dive in and have a look, shall we? So when you load into this game, you are brought into a lobby. I mean, I thought I'd been thrown straight into a game, but there was one already going on. So this is a lobby with an active game going. This is where you go when you die. This is where you go when you join the game if you haven't already gone into a game. And what I'm looking for here are things like aggressive pop-ups or any sort of link that's going to lead your child out of the game and somewhere else where they shouldn't be. And ultimately, there isn't a great deal here in terms of purchases. The stuff that you can purchase is behind menus, so that's always good to see. One of the things that I didn't like though was this thing called GX Rewards, which almost tells me that I need to go to a community server and download this Opera GX thing, which as a younger player, I really wouldn't want them going off and downloading third-party programs or software. The other thing is the music of this and the display of this. I mean, it doesn't scream to me that this is suitable for a 5-year-old, irrespective of the fact that a lot of these avatar characters or NPCs are quite blocky and the basic default kind of Roblox characters that you'd expect. So let's get into the actual game itself and the mechanics. What do you have to do? Well, from what I've established, you have to work as a team with your teammates to go around and fix these generators. Meanwhile, you need to avoid the thing that is coming to kill you. Otherwise, that will eliminate you and the rest of your team and send you back to the lobby. The game, as far as I can see, ends when it gets to 0, and then it's deemed that all of the players win, or if everybody gets killed by the thing chasing you, then obviously the Forsaken then wins that round. The puzzles that you have to solve on the generator, again, they aren't exactly easy to do. They do require a bit of thought. So again, it leads into whether or not a younger child should be playing this game, irrespective of everything else, because equally that part could be quite difficult. Ultimately, though, it runs in rounds. It is the same game pretty much each time, apart from maybe a different map or a different type of Forsaken chasing you, and that's kind of where it is at the moment. And it said on the game description it is currently in alpha, so that kind of lends itself to the fact of why it seems like it's quite restrictive. Before we dive into the risk review for this game, it's important for me to remind you that I am not endorsed by Roblox or the game developers. Everything that you get from me is independent on how I see things from my perspective as a parent and whether or not I would let my kids play these types of games. So now let's dive into the risk review. 0 stars is minimal or non-existent, and 5 stars is the absolute maximum. And I like to get started off with violence. So when we talk about violence, I'm talking about things like not just combat, but how realistic the combat is, whether or not there is any blood, and to what extent it is kind of made glorified or realistic. So I went with 2.5 stars because although there is a lack of combat and although there is a lack of blood, when you get caught by the Forsaken, the cutscene that happens is actually quite graphic, like being almost pinned down and stabbed repeatedly while this thing stands over you and the screen is flashing black and red with loud music. I think that could be quite disturbing for some younger children. So moving on to psychological and emotional, and here I'm looking for things that are either going to psychologically cause your child things like real world nightmares and develop anxiety or tension, or have an emotional impact such as building rage and frustration. And I've got to admit, I've gone with 3.5 stars here, and largely that is because of the anxiety and tension that is ramped up when you are the last person standing, where all of the loud music starts and the screen all turns red and everything's all kicking off. You've got this thing chasing you, and if it catches you, you are then, like I say, visibly stabbed to death on the screen. So whilst this might not necessarily be intended as a particularly scary game, that kind of impact I know will have an effect on younger children. It potentially could cause them nightmares about being chased by something wanting to kill them, and certainly the actual game itself does a great job from an adult's point of view of ramping up the tension, but that is not suitable in my eyes for a younger child. So moving on then, financial is the final area that I like to assess, and here I'm looking for things like aggressive pop-ups, misleading transactions, or basically things that you can buy that are either used immediately and have very little impact, or are just completely pointless purchases. So other than the initial menu that I found by speaking to this NPC, I can't see anything else to buy here, and other than a couple of these purchases, and ultimately I'm talking about the in-game money and the emotes, I mean, sure, okay, they have got some utility, but I feel like they would be a waste of Robux, and they're actually not that cheap. The other two things, the VIP and the Azure, look like they're more to support the game by giving you certain perks, but it certainly doesn't introduce a pay-to-win system or any kind of paywall. The only one other is this plus 15% to the becoming the murderer, the killer. Okay, great if that's how you want to play the game, but I don't necessarily think that has much impact. So I've gone with finance being a 1 because it is all clearly labelled, albeit quite pricey for what it is. It certainly doesn't feel as much like a cash grab by the game developers. So let's head off to a quick summary then of this game. Is this game suitable for a child that's maybe aged 5 to 7 all the way up to 16, 17 years old? Absolutely not is my view. The violent side of it is minimal, but it is quite graphic when it comes to being caught by the Forsaken. From an emotional and a psychological point of view, this game does an awesome job of ramping up the tension when you are the last person surviving or when you're being chased by the Forsaken. But again, that is going to cause younger children anxieties. I almost have absolutely no uncertainty about that because it is specifically designed that way. Older children, maybe around the ages of 10 plus, absolutely no problem at all, but definitely not for younger audiences. Lastly, with finances, I think everything is really well labelled within a menu for purchases. Okay, there's arguable amounts of utility with what you can purchase, but I don't think that's anything to be worried about. Overall, for a game that's supposed to be an alpha, I think it plays really well. It is not suitable for younger audiences. I can't stress that enough. But other than that, I think it is an alright game for anybody maybe aged 10 and up. I hope this review has been useful to you today. If it has, please do hit the thumbs up button to help other parents find this kind of content. Subscribe to Level Check Roblox for more in-game reviews just like this one, and I'll see you on the next video.